Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, it is Meet the Maker Monday, and I will not disappoint you. I am so excited to be on the Zoom screen pre-recording our conversation today with Carrie Althouse. She is with Althouse Pottery and located over in Clark County, and I found her because something that she had posted on Facebook popped up in my news feed. And then, Carrie, I got to tell you, I trolled your timeline for weeks to see all of the cool stuff that you have done. So I am so glad that you had some time today to chat with me about your craft.
Thank you, Janet. It definitely took years to make that week's worth of searching, but yeah, I do post a lot. I'm so glad you found me.
So tell me a little bit about how you became a potter. Has this been like a lifelong thing for you? Is it something that you took up because of a life-changing moment? How did you become a potter?
Well, it definitely was not my first idea when I was a kid in school. I loved animals, and so of course I wanted to be the vet or work with them somehow. But it actually started in high school. I did take an art class, and my art teacher came to me and he said, "You know what, Carrie, you put a lot of detail in your artwork." And he was really the only teacher that said that, maybe this is something you need to go to college for. And at that time, I was big into music and volleyball. I mean, I could have gone for a couple other different things. Never even thought about art, but that little push, that little confidence is all I needed. So I went as an art educator degree, an art teaching degree from Mansfield University up in Pennsylvania. And so I taught for 9 years. I taught 3 years outside of Baltimore, high school art, which focused more on pottery than anything. It was sculpture. It was a sculpture class that I taught. And then, which, funny, the teacher that I taught with, she was a 15-year potter who stopped being a potter because she hurt her back. She just couldn't bend over like she used to. And so she went into the teaching scene, and she actually took me under her wing a little bit. So there I had a little bit more of pottery in my life. And then I went up to New Hampshire. After 3 years of teaching in Glen Burnie, Maryland, I went up to New Hampshire and taught at Monadnock Regional Middle School. And so I had middle schoolers. I loved the middle schoolers because they listen well, and they're so capable of such great artwork. And as soon as I had my daughter, Sydney, I really didn't think I could be a teacher and be a good mom. So I handed over my keys, and I thought, well, I'll just stay home with Sydney. And when I got really bored right away, so I went out and I started throwing on my wheel that I had, a little old wheel in a little old kiln in our garage. And I tried to make things as big as I can make them and as small as I can make them. I had so many mistakes that I made, but I learned from them. And that's the best way that I learned. I learned from getting a kick in the butt, from opening the kiln and seeing everything go wrong. So kind of self-taught in a way. I really only had one pottery class in college. But So my daughter now is 14. I have 2 daughters, Sydney and Zoe. Sydney is 14, so that's been about 14 years. I moved to Berryville about 5 years ago and started my studio gallery here. So I guess you could say, I've been doing it ever since college. But I have grown to love pottery because it's a medium that you can never get tired of. There's always challenges and there's always something new to explore. Like we're exploring glazes. Even today, people are finding new elements to put in their glazes. So it's an ongoing learning experience for me, and I love it.
One of the things that I have learned over the last few years, I have a couple of friends who are also potters. And before I got to know them and how they create what they create, I just assumed all potters were the same and they created everything in the same way. And until I met Susie and saw how she did what she did, and met Carrie and saw how Carrie did what she did, I had no idea. When you're talking about glazes, you're talking about all of these different things. It is very unique to the actual artists themselves.
Absolutely. And I teach at the Round Hill Art Center. I teach adult wheel throwing classes on Thursday evenings, which are, the classes there are phenomenal and they're sold out almost always. So they're really hard to get into. But when I teach there, I will always tell my students, hey, I'm going to take the summer off. Go to another art teacher or another pottery instructor. Learn from them some techniques because I don't know it all. I have certain ways that I do what I do, and I'll teach you what I do, but that's what works for me. My hands are different from yours, and so we all do have different ways of doing what we do. And then, there's different focuses. Like I focus on sculpture, and I focus on texture. I don't focus on glazing. I don't focus on, making my own recipes. I get my glazes from the store, so I don't have to worry about leaching or food safe or dishwasher. Everything safe in my studio. But we all, we're artisans, so we all have our own things that we like to emphasize. And so mine is, I also love to be in the outdoors. I hike, I bike, I ski, used to rock climb, kayak, all that sort of stuff. And so you're going to see that in my artwork, and I'm really trying to bring the outside inside. But you have other potters who are just down with the browns. They're like, I just like useful stuff, and I like to wood fire it, and it's all shades of brown, but I love it. And that's the cool thing about pottery. You can be so diverse. All of us potters can have our own little niche, and we don't step on each other's toes, which I absolutely love.
And I know you're calling in for us to have this conversation today, so you can't see my Zoom wall background, but it is full of various coffee mugs that have come from potters all across the country. Because if I can't get them locally, I'll buy them from a potter off of Etsy, and they're all in various shades of orange, some not as orange as others, because like you mentioned, not everybody can do the orange because of the glazes and things like that. So I love that once you found your niche, that's what you stuck with, because that's what you love and you're most passionate about.
That's right. Yep.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the types of products that you have. And I definitely want to talk about these little houses because I saw them on your Facebook page and I have to have one. So I am going to make a special trip out to your studio so that I can buy one of these. But I want you to give me the details for it when we come back from this break. Can we do that?
That sounds wonderful.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. We are pre-recording today with Carrie Althouse. She is with Althouse Pottery, located in Clark County. We'll get her hours, her location, where you can get more information about her. And we're going to talk about these really cool houses during the break. If you want to go to Facebook and do a quick search for Althouse Pottery, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about when we come back to continue our conversation in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a quick money chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, it is Meet the Maker Monday, and we are on the screen pre-recording with Carrie Althouse. She is with Althouse Pottery, located in Clark County. We're going to get her address and her hours and all of that from her before we wrap up here at the end. But I am so excited, Carrie. I want to know about these little houses because I saw the original one, I think, when you were trying them out on your Facebook, and then I got to tell you, I giggled for a good 20 minutes when I saw the picture that you posted that had a row of them and said that the song that was stuck in your head was "We Built This City." I just chuckled at that for a good 20 minutes. Tell me about these houses that you've created.
Well, now, Janet, you do know I had to have played that song while I was making them, right?
It's the inspiration.
It was very inspirational as I was singing that song. I believe I remember the day that my neighbor got that record. I was in her basement and we were listening to that record. That was so long ago. Anyways, the inspiration, that's a good question because I'm typically more of a nature-oriented person, but we are travelers. My little family of 4 here, we like to go take our A-liner and go all over the United States and up into Canada. And one of our recent trips to Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, I came back with beautiful pictures of their beautiful white old looking houses with the red roofs and the green roofs. And it just, that simplistic countryside up there, these houses remind me of that. And I have an extruder here that I got off of a Craigslist find. I'm always out looking for cheap machinery for my studio, and a slab roller. And they've been sitting here for a couple of weeks. And I thought, you know what, I think I'll just give it a try. So when I made the house, put windows in it and whatnot, I thought, there's got to be a way I can figure out a way to have smoke coming out of it. And so I took one of those cones that you can light, kind of like the punk sticks, and was playing around with how can I get the smoke to go up through the chimney. And some of them are not made to have smoke coming up the chimney, but some of them are, and the smoke comes beautifully up the chimney. I figured out the exact amount of hole that I need in the back and the exact placement of the chimney on the house, and it'll burn for 30 minutes with a beautiful white smoke. Now it's a scent, you have to get used to those kind of scents, but comes straight up and then hovers in the air. It's gorgeous. Did you see that video too?
I did, because
that was on Facebook.
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, she made it. I didn't even, because I loved the houses initially. And then when I saw the video where you actually made the smoke come up out of the chimney, I thought, oh, I didn't think it could get any cooler. And then all of a sudden it did.
Yep, that's what I intend. I always try to do one step further as much as I can. Always trying to up my game.
And I think it's important for people to also understand and realize that a lot of times, I think sometimes we take for granted that when an artist is creating something, whether it's pottery or a painting, or I had someone on a few months ago that makes candles, this is not always just a simple process. It's not something where you come up with an idea and then you just create it. A lot of research and a lot of science and a lot of actual blood, sweat, and tears go into some of these creations.
Yes, and some of them are golden ticket ideas, and some of them do fail. So you have to factor that in. That sometimes it's like a mess in the kiln. Sometimes it's Halloween when you open up that kiln. Sometimes it's Christmas.
So
It's a
tell me
hard
about
truth for a potter.
what kind of impacted COVID did the pandemic have on you being able to still operate your business and create your pottery?
Well, it shut down every show that I was in. I do about 7 fine art shows a year. That's where I used to make all of my money. Now that I have the studio gallery here that people can come visit at any time, that does bring in some money. But the shows are usually where it's at. That's where you're getting thousands of people looking at your stuff. So those were shut down. And honestly, COVID gave me a little settle down time. Like, let's just sit and think. Let's brainstorm. And I have a favorite chair in my sunroom that I look outside of it's a beautiful sunroom full of windows looking out at our forest. And I'll tell you, like a good 3 weeks into COVID, just that downtime to be creative, to let my brain think about, just wander from one idea to another, to another, to another. That's usually how I come up with my ideas. It starts with one, and then as long as I have time to sit and think it through, it'll continue on to a golden ticket idea, I call them. COVID gave me time to think about my design work. And so I started with a whole new line of things. I started to draw and images of animals onto my marbled pottery, which is taking various colors of clay, putting them together, spinning them on the wheel, and then it looks like this beautiful marbling on the outside. And so I thought, well, hey, I'll just put an image of animals, which I love so much, on there too. And so that kind of harkens back to my artistry. I used to love to paint before I was a potter, so I brought my painting back to life this year because of COVID. Another thing that happened is the idea to have the public come and glaze something that I make and watch it get fired in what's called a raku firing. A raku firing is an old Japanese way of firing pottery, just using a weed burner and a trash can. And that's my kiln. And when you take it out and put it into a trash can of sawdust, a metal trash can of sawdust, it ignites on fire. And then when you put a lid on that, it lets the fire do its thing to your pots. And when your pots come out, they're gorgeous colors of metallic-y, rainbow trout looking glazes, crackle effects. It's anywhere that's not glazed, you get this beautiful burnt black. And I know all about this process, but I know a lot of other people have no idea about this process. And so I thought, well, I'm an art educator. I can educate people on this process. In the meantime, I can have them come out. I can have them be a part of it somehow. And then I came up with the come glaze your own raku pumpkin in the fall, or come glaze your own raku bowl in the spring. And I had upwards to 350 people in the fall come out for those pumpkins, and I was sold out. Like I needed to have more weekends, but I was exhausted. It's a very exhausting process. And then in the spring, I had another 300 this spring. Again, I only offered it so much, and I had sold out. But funny, I still wedged people in. I'm like, sure, you can come. I'll fit you in somehow. So I'm a sucker. I won't deny anybody art, the experience of doing art. But anyways, that brought tons of people my way, and they were shopping my studio gallery along with purchasing that project and watching it get fired and taking it home. They get to take it home within the 2 hours that they've been here. And I heard so many oohs and ahs, and I even have a week of kids coming. I just call it the Kids Raku Week, where they come, they get a special event. They get to see me make something on the wheel. I give them a little art lesson on the side, and we just kind of talk pottery while they're here. So it's a little bit of tying all of my life together. It's really worked out well. It's brought people to my community They never even knew this road existed. Some people, other people, they're on their way to Watermelon Park. I live here in Berryville on Chili Hollow Road. And on their way to Watermelon Park, they see my sign outside that says Althouse Pottery, and they're like, oh, now I get it. That's who you are. So it's really reassuring that, that I had no problems with COVID. I was one of those silver linings for sure.
I have talked to a lot of silver linings from COVID, believe it or not. I mean, nothing's going to take away from the impact that it, of course, had on people across the country. But I am very proud of a lot of the people in our surrounding communities who looked for and found a silver lining in COVID. And your idea is just brilliant. I think it is a fantastic idea. Although I will say that I kind of hope my husband's not listening today, because he has been after me for the better part of a year or two to buy a weed burner. And I have told him he has no real reason for needing one. And now he's going to try and turn and say, hey, I think you could make some of this pottery I heard about on the show if you just let me buy a weed burner. So I'm going to have some work to do when he gets home this evening.
Well, you let me know how that pans out for you there, Janet.
So tell me where you're located. You mentioned a second ago you're on the way to Watermelon Park. Give me your address and your hours for the studio.
My address is 1320 Chili Hollow Road, and it is about 1.3 miles away from Route 7. There at Knowles Farm Market. I do not have hours because I do have two girls that I still want to, I'm mom first and potter second. I want to invest in them as much as I can. So I hate to miss out on anything, whether it be sports or school or church or whatever related, or trip related if we want to go on a trip. So I don't want to pigeonhole myself that way. Not yet. When they're out of the house, maybe I can, but I am more than welcome to have you over anytime that I am here. And so I just have it as appointment only for now. But during those events, I will post on Facebook my the open hours during those events, and people are more than welcome to come in at that time without having an appointment. But yeah, as long as I'm here and dressed for the day, I'm good to go. I'll let you in.
Now, you mentioned that, because of COVID, a lot of your events have gone away. Some things are starting to come back. Do you have any events that you're going to be at in the next couple of weeks, couple of months?
I sure do. My two favorite art shows are coming up. July 31st, the last Saturday of July, is the Lititz Art Show, which is in Pennsylvania. It's about 2 hours from here, a little over 2 hours from here. Wonderful art show in a wonderful artistic community. Oh my word, there are so many beautiful shops there, and we have our show in a beautiful park downtown where ducks are going through the water. It's beautiful. And then the second show is September 18th and 19th. That is in Stannardsville, and in Virginia, and that's called the Virginia Clay Festival. There are about, I think, 36 of us potters from Virginia there at the local high school, and we all have our booths set up in the gym, and we also have to demonstrate for 45 minutes, each of us, for the 2 days. So you're getting three, so there's three demonstration areas that we're doing our craft at. So you can watch up to 3 different people an hour, both days. I think it's from 10 to 5, but just a phenomenal show. And you've got some really good potters from all over Virginia. Both of these shows are juried. So you have to be, pretty decent to get in. And I'm just super privileged to be a part of it. It's a really cool thing. And they have food trucks there. They have music going at the same time. And both of them are free events.
You mentioned your website. Where can people, what is your web address that people can get more information?
Althousepottery.com. So ALT as in Tom, housepottery.com. And it's under the events page. It has the dates and the times and where it is. And I think there might be a link to the website that the show is at.
And then I found you on Facebook. Do you also have an Instagram account?
I do. It's Althouse Pottery. Try to keep it simple. It's kind of like your passwords.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with all of my passwords is challenging, but so I kept all of my website, my Facebook, and my Instagram is pretty much Althouse Pottery. Yep.
Well, Carrie, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me today. I've had a really great time talking with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I will let listeners know during the break, Carrie told me that those houses that we talked about earlier, she has 3 orange ones. So I'm going to go get at least one of them. So if somebody's listening and they want to do something nice for their favorite radio show talk host, they can, reach out to Carrie and say, hey, I'd like to get one of those houses for Janet. I would not be upset. I will be back tomorrow. It is Tourism Tuesday, Luray Page County edition, and we are talking zip lining. Tony Higginbotham from Bear Mountain Zip Lines is joining Gina and I on the screen tomorrow to talk about their business over there and what zip lining is like. They have a rock wall, a climbing wall. They have all kinds of cool stuff. So he's going to give us all the details for that. So meet me back here tomorrow, just a few minutes after noon.